We're supposed to do the what's up? You're on mute though, or something. I can't hear you.
That figures. Yes, I was. Now I got to start all over. So now I can start over with the what? What's up, Smiley?
What's up?
Yeah, not much, man. Episode 820.6. Of course, this is the Weed Nerd World. I said this once, but I was muted. So, cheers. What you smoking on? Is that cigarette? You started out the show with a cigarette? No. I'm muted.
No, I'm muted too. I'm all trying to flip back to it to unmute. I was trying to bring up chat and shit, but no, this is Crippy OG.
Right on. Dang. Yeah, I don't know. I'd almost rather see you start the show with the fucking cigarette. With the Crippy, that's like nighttime weed right from the get.
Hopefully, I don't know. It does do the job though, for sure.
So, we may have a surprise for tonight.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, our good friend Joe Pietri fell asleep on us last night. Which it happens. I actually have recently had one of those episodes myself.
right?
But I guess he may be joining in the panel this evening. Come hang out. So all y'all that have had questions in the past for Joe might get a chance to get them answered this evening. So we'll see how that goes. Cheers everybody in chat. I need to get rolling. Rolling me a doobers. It's way past time. Way past time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may eat these tonight. I don't know.
What is it? Sorry, I'm not looking on chat.
The haunted ghost pepper spicy
Oh
chip.
shit! All right. You're in for pain, huh? You're out for some pain.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that. I had him sitting here since last week. I was gonna eat him Thursday, and then I've just kind of let him sit there. I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, haunting you.
Yeah, I got to get a joint in for what?
But yeah, it was a fucking long ass day, man. I was sore as hell. This weekend we went to Chicago, as you know, but the dad or whatever, we were in Chicago and had a concert at Wrigley Field. So Jessica, my fiance, is a huge Pink fan, like unglued Pink fan. She was like counting days down to it, all that. But yeah, we had that this weekend.
That was probably a pretty decent time.
Yeah, it was a good time. It didn't go as planned. We got there and they fucking valet our car, right? Well, I didn't want to bring the joints in because they stink so bad. So, and I wasn't thinking that we weren't thinking was what it came down to. But they just valet our car and it's like 2 blocks away and some fucking parking ramp that we can't get to and shit. And like, so yeah, we ended up not having them joints. We had vape pens and shit, but whatever.
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah. We ended up walking down there because we were going to grab a bite to eat, and it was like 3 miles to Wrigley Field from the hotel or whatever. I don't know, she was excited or whatever. We got there. It's like, fuck yeah, let's just walk around downtown. Fuck it, we'll find a place to eat somewhere on the way. You know, we ain't in a hurry. We don't got to be there anytime, we don't got to make any kind of speed or whatever, right? So we just kind of meandered our way there, went and checked shit out as we were going, whatever, and fucking get done with the concert. And we were gonna hitch a ride, and we're like, the first person we asked was like, "Yeah, it's like $300." We're just like, "What?" It's like just down the road, man. Like, yeah, it's like $300. Man. Oh, okay. So we ended up walking all the way back too afterward. But just fuck it.
That's pretty crazy. Pat Benatar, you said opened up. Pat Benatar is fucking pretty awesome. I bet you
Yeah.
that show as well.
Oh yeah, dude. They did amazing. I think they said they were together 44 years. That band had been playing together.
Damn.
That's fucking how old I am. I'm 45, but still, like, fuck, man. Long time,
Blessed to be doing it what you love, though. I mean, I don't think any of us would still be smiling to do anything after 44 years and shit. You gotta do it because you love it. Otherwise, you just don't last that long.
Well, that's her husband. That's the guitarist, right? Aren't they married? Like,
I don't know. That's pretty awesome, though.
I'm pretty sure that's her husband. I thought I saw that, like, an interview with him or something. But
Nice.
he's an amazing guitarist too, man. They keep zooming in on their hands and shit, like on the big screen or whatever, and they do their. It's crazy when they get down on the guitar, like going nuts on it. Man. It's like, you watch their hands, it's fucking, it's unreal.
Nice, nice. Man, I think
Yeah, it was a cool show though. Pink fucking. I think it'd be fun as ever, but she does this like. It's not a trapeze, but it's I don't know, man. It was they basically it was around her hips, so they had her around her hips, and she could do flips and shit in it still. But they could zoom her all the way around the fucking stadium, dude. Like she was flying around like Peter Pan, fucking around the stadium. It was all cables, driving it or whatever. But it was cool as fuck. They could lower her right down on a pedestal and like fly her all the way around fucking Wrigley Stadium, land her back on the stage and shit. It's pretty badass. Like I was like, they should sell that. That'd be tickets for like an amusement ride or some shit, right? Like fucking strap into that bitch and fly around the fucking Wrigley Stadium.
it would be fun. It'd probably be $300.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Yeah, we had a pretty good weekend. I went down and checked out Rainbow Farms and the event they had. It was pretty decent, different. Good time though. A little hilly in that in particular area. I didn't realize it was so hilly through there, but it was nice. Nice place to hang. Definitely like where they had the stage and shit. The sun peeking through the trees.
You said you'd never been there? You weren't there before?
No, not to the original rainbow spot.
I could have swore we were at one and then it got like kind of half rained out and shit. They had to move some of the booths that were down in one of the hills from one of the hills. They like cut it all up.
I think I missed that one. I think a bunch of you guys did go down to Rainbow Farms, and I remember you guys saying it rained, and then fucking it kind of mudded up a little bit. But that was my first one down at the actual big Rainbow Farms there.
Yeah, you got some buzzing in the background. I see chat kind of talking about it, but I'm hitting mute, so
I don't know what it could be. Oh, there's Joe. I was just getting ready to text him to see what's up.
I can bounce too. Shit.
No, that's the panel, man.
Oh yeah,
Got it. I think I got it.
What's up, Joe?
Joe.
What's happening, man?
Welcome to the WEedNerdWorld.
I'm gonna light my joint. It took me a few minutes to get. I had to put my another email in there, and but I got it. So I what's going on, guys? I'm lighting up my joint.
What's in that joint? What are you smoking on this evening?
Oh, I'm smoking on some. It's so sticky that it's. I got to put it back in the freezer. It's cryogenic. It's that freezing technique that they freeze. Cryogenic sieving. It's like 68%. It's so sticky that it's just I have two kinds. One that's chirogenic, whatever sifting, very strong. I had it tested at 61, and then stuff that's been sieved real well, and then been electrostatically sieved, so it takes out all impurities. And so it's pretty good.
Nice. I'm smoking. I don't even know what the fuck I'm smoking on. Some sativa. One of the little bit of entries I had from this weekend's cup. Pretty good. Not bad.
Went to New York, and somebody was smoking. I did a few sessions, autographed some books and stuff, and there was one guy there called House of Pips, and they were selling weed that came from my seed. And as soon as I saw it, they were the only people there that was selling anything decent. That whole thing of bag appeal with these little pieces of shit that look like turds. Are you fucking kidding me? That ain't no fucking bud, And I want to bring the flowers back into marijuana. The stuff that these kids are smoking, it's like a joke. It's the same shit, different mix, different name, berry flavored. It's like they keep, they keep running around the same thing because that's what works for them, right? And they don't really give the people the opportunity to smoke every kind of weed that there is. And that's the reason that I retired. I joined a group. It's called Seed is Art. I have a team behind me now, and so I'm replicating everything and bringing out a lot. I have a team, so I have in Colorado greenhouses, the whole thing that's going to be dedicated to growing my seed and putting it out the door at the finest quality that's ever been. I've been doing everything myself. I'm one fucking guy, and I'm 75 years old now, and I feel really a privilege to join this group. They've got 160 cups of stuff in their belt. They're very well known people and great growers and great farmers, and we're on the same page. And so they're gonna carry on my torch, and we have a few names for the company for the seeds that we're going to be doing, but everything is going to be fresh, of the finest quality. I'm going to bring back a lot of stuff from the day that I have, and we do tissue cultures as well. So we'll be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And now I have this team behind me. There's no stopping me as far as genetics go, And so we're planning a trip to Kazakhstan and to the Samarkand, Dushanbe, all these others in eastern Turkestan, which used to be where the best indicas came from. I'm going to go up there with this team, and basically I'm going to just be kicking back and letting these kids do the work, and it's a hard thing just to retire, and just when you go to retire, like I mean I gotta get a new phone number, new computer. You know what I mean? I gotta like cut my that part of my life out and be more I'll still be present on the scene, but it'll be more of in the background, maybe giving some talks or something. The and I like I always said, this scene was created by fraud, lies, and deceptions, and control of the cannabis media and the cannabis information by the Dutch. It's like people have been led by green Pied Pipers down a road of spend more, grow less. And so finally, I think that I've gone through with my 12-in-1, and my word has gone through because they even changed a timer on my schedule. They taught everybody wrong so that you spend more on electricity and you spend more on nutrients and all this shit. And I think that I broke through that door, and they had somebody here, Frenchie Cannoli, and Mila. She wrote a book about the hash queen. She paid my publisher money not to publish my book, The King of Nepal, the Ice Wars edition, because that would have exposed the Dutch openly and Dutch fraud 15, 20 years ago. So now I'm not, my information is not being suppressed because my paradigm has cut through their bullshit, and people are now thinking like farmers should be thinking. When I interview people to be like grower, I'm not looking for a grower. I'm looking for a fucking farmer who'll grow me a fucking field full of fucking watermelons if I need. You know what I mean? I want a farmer. I don't want somebody that's been taught by high times. I want someone who knows how to fucking grow. And so anyway, the people that I'm working with now, they have like two states that they work out. They have 4 grows, 4 dispensaries. It's a big operation, and I'm doing the seeds with the Seed or Art, and there's stuff that I've wanted to do that I couldn't have done. I couldn't do by myself because I was always by myself, 2 greenhouses. It's just I couldn't do it all, and so now I'm going to be able to do a lot of things that I've halfway finished. And I have a super indica that I got from a friend. It's funny because I've been trying to get the seed collection out and into my hands for like over a decade and a half that my friend has for me. And he sent it to me twice, and they were irradiated, and so they wouldn't fucking germinate, right? Then they recently changed the laws, and seeds are legal. So now, I got him. I sent him seeds. He always used to get my seeds. He loves my blackberry poison. His seeds get radiated in Pakistan, which I want to talk about there. But I've got some really, really ancient indica lines that are just like crazy, and I've got like this one Angola red, black Congolese F1 that I'm going to hit with this one of my packies, man, and some other stuff, and I'm going to come up with some crazy stuff.
What are you doing with those males in that 12-in-1? There's a lot of us that have run the 12-in-1 there and have a little bit of problem keeping males there, or some strains even wanting to flower a little bit early. Any suggestions for keeping males under the 12-in-1? Joe?
Well, you know what it is that is that I don't know what genetics people are using, and so it's like for me to answer it and to be truthful, I couldn't be honest because I don't know what the fuck you're growing, where the seeds come from, whether they're auto flowering and or feminized. This scene is sort of stupid on a certain level. They grow auto flowering because it gives them a short crop, but it has a short-term high. So you get high for like 20 minutes. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? When you breed with hemp plants and auto flowering strains are ruderalis, they're hemp strains from the northern climates, northern latitude and longitude, And so they have a growing period of only like 58 days. So they have to grow a plant that from seed to flower, it finishes in 58 days. People don't know nowadays because people don't know anything about it, really don't know anything about history. But 150 years ago, hemp seeds was a staple in our diet. They had hemp seed cereal. They had, you know what I mean? They had all kinds of hemp candies, hemp everything. You know what I mean? So they were made from these seeds. It was part of the diet in people's diets. That's not how it is now. But they're using those strains to because those strains are auto flowering. They're using those strains, which are hemp strains, to bring down the flowering times on their drug strains. So it's when you take a drug strain and you breed it to a hemp strain, right? It cuts the percentage of CBD and THC 50% both ways. So it's like people need to grow real females and real males. I mean, there are people here that tell me I've never even seen a male. I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, I have some friends of mine in Colorado, Oregon, who used to grow a lot of plants, and they paid a guy $20 a plant just to find the males walking through the fields because what you need to do is just find your females, make mothers, make clones from the mothers, and put those female clones out in the field. But some people have to start from putting stuff in the field, and just having people walk to the field. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. But you always fuck up. In Afghanistan, when they were growing for hash, they would leave one male alive, right? And he would with one branch, and that wouldn't pollinate everything, but they were always sure to get some seed, and that's how they kept their shit going, And so, they're not teaching traditional techniques. I asked a kid, what's sensimilla, and he said, "Oh, that's seedless marijuana." I said, "Well, what else is it?" And he said, they didn't know. I said, "Well, when you take a real male and real female plants and you take the male away, the female goes into overdrive to produce resin in the hopes and anticipation it's going to mate. It's never going to mate. You can't get that effect with a feminized plant or an auto-flowering plant. You have to do it the way Mother Nature intended it to be grown, And then so the another thing is like with indoor techniques, they don't realize. I'll ask a person, what's how much sun does a plant get in a day in the equator or in a northern climate, right? And they're always wrong. And so, can you imagine you have plants in a room under lights under 12 and 12, and say it's an indica dominant plant. At 6.5 hours, it shuts down. And so everybody here, most people are 12 and 12 and 18.6. Though we're slowly killing that vibe and waking everybody the fuck up, it's like stupid. I mean, if you try to do 18.6 outdoors, you need 2 suns. People aren't fucking farmers, man. They need to be a farmer and really get into Mother Nature, So I'm working with this group. I'm going to put out some really quality seeds. That's going to be sort of my legacy, And I'm basically going to go off into the sunset, probably in Thailand somewhere, I think about going to Thailand, Nepal, but then here I am sitting on my deck on my farm in Oklahoma, and I just began. I just had this tech rebuilt. I'll do the one in back. I'm going to fix it up, then probably put it up for sale, or maybe farm it if I can get people who really are serious. But the one thing is I not only did I change the way everybody grows indoors. I mean, imagine if you're a plant and you have a 1,000-watt light on top of you for 12 hours. And never in the field it doesn't get 6, all told. You know what I mean? So everything was taught wrong to people. Everybody's making hash with bags. They lose 30% of your flavors, taste, aroma. Pungency is left in the fucking bucket. Now they're teaching people. The guy Frenchy Cannoli go around teaching people how to roll your resin and then put some THC oil. Oh, and then you can get some terpenes from another guy that sells terpenes, and so you can put the terpenes, the thing, and then roll it up into a ball, and now you got a temple ball. So sort of crazy, but hey, I hooked up with some people, legalized the Paul official, and so I'm like, I wrote a book, The King of Nepal. Everybody knows I'm very well known, and so we hooked up. And first thing I told him, I said, well, what do you mean really legalized? It was legal. We need to. They made it illegal. The king made it illegal. Now we need to re-legalize it. But people don't realize that the Nepalese police, the police in Pakistan, the police in most of the countries in South Asia are still playing drug war full time, and they're kicking people's doors down. And it used to be when you walked in the mountains in Nepal, every farmer had weed growing in his yard because they fed it to their animals, because not only is it medicine for you, it's medicine for man or beast. So they would give their cows weed to give them the munchies and fatten them up or something, or get sweet milk or whatever. But that's just a thing that farmers have done since millennia, So, they're playing drug war in Asia, while we're sort of winding down from the drug war somewhat. It's funny because here no one really knows their history, and all those years on the run, all I could do was read history books. In the 18th and 19th century, the British exported so much opium. That was the only thing that the Chinese didn't have, was opium, because opium doesn't grow in China. They got everybody in China hooked, and they got the Chinese silver and gold and jewelry and silks and all the wealth of China. And when Mao took over, like after he threw the nationalists out, 25% of the Chinese population was addicted to heroin. That's a lot. Imagine if 25% of the people in America, I wonder what the percentage is in America. But no, anyway, we with the re-legalize Nepal is basically we want to end the drug war. So I have some friends of mine that have want to do a documentary about my life, and they also want to do. I want to do a drug war, and end the drug war type thing. Go into a new direction with new history of what's going on in old history too. So it would be perfect for Nepal to be re-legalized, to be legalized and open up, because it was the last country in the world where it was legal. 1973, when the king made it illegal. That was the last country. Everybody had signed the UN Charter, right? What the Nepalese don't understand, they don't understand the drug war. they, the Nepalese police, they have a thing called SNARK, and they have all those Southeast Asian countries that are part of SNARK. They're all trained by the police, American police, the whole thing, and they have like little DEAs all around here, and so they don't realize that the Nepalese and I think the Pakis are beginning to realize it, is that the people who are paying them is the pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies don't want you growing your own medicine. It always goes down to that, you know.
Sorry.
And so, you know what I mean? Do you understand that? And so, anyway, we want to end the drug war, basically, get it off everybody's back. Wars come to an end. You know what I mean? And so we're trying to convince the Nepalese government, and the Nepalese government is like these other governments are confused, but the police aren't confused because they're getting money. You know, so it's a funny situation. When I go back to Asia, it'll be all built up. Some friends of mine, I mean, it's like Full Tilt Boogie in Thailand. It's wide open. It's like New York City. It's wide open. Uh, 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 you know, I mean, you think of what people have gotten away with now, and I still remember smoke a joint, go to jail. you know, so it's funny. I'm glad that I'm retiring, and I'm not going to be doing any shows. I'm not going to be doing any sales. There'll be all my sales and marketing will be through Caesar Art, and if anything, I'll do some talks. I'm thinking about doing another book, but I'm thinking about doing this documentary, and that's the reason I wanted to introduce Iman to you. He's the leader of the group, and they have a Shiva temple, and he's like me. We love Shiva, so he has a Shiva temple in New York, the first one, and he has a big following all over the world, and it's getting bigger all the time. And I'm going to New York and doing some teachings, which is another thing that I started to do, is do some teachings. And it's funny when you're dealing with people that are like 20% of your age. I mean, they're like 50 years younger than you. You know what I mean? And they're so-called experts, and they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, and it's not their fault. And it's a thing that I've had to sort of like dance around it. And when I did my 12-in-1, that cut through the bullshit. But because people's egos are delicate, and so I don't know how many times in New York, it came out that everybody talking their shit. Then I put some shit on the table, and it was just like light years away from it. You know what I mean? From anything else. What can you do? You know what I mean? And those egos their egos got crushed. And so it's funny. So I basically, I'm going to take a more back step. I'm going to do. I'll be on the scene, but not like I have been in the past. But it is pretty nice here. It's nice here at night. It's quiet. I got this nice piece of land. I got no neighbors. The only neighbors I have are not living. I live next to a cemetery.
Oklahoma's nice.
What?
I've thought about going to Oklahoma once or twice. It ain't bad in Oklahoma there.
No, it ain't bad. I'm not friendly with anybody here. I haven't made any friends here. It's everybody wants everybody wants to make a name for themselves. So, I mean, it's I sort of I've caught people using my biography as their biography. I mean, all kinds of stuff, and so many egos that and then I always win. I always win because I was taught right. I'm a farmer, I that's how that goes. So it's funny, and in Thailand, it's completely wide open. I mean, I got friends there. They got like 77 shops. It's like New York City. New York City. You go to New York City, they have like 30,000. Every corner has a bodega, has a shop selling five different kinds of weed, different quality, different names, whatever. It's crazy. It's like wide open, you know. And you gotta remember they used to put you in jail for a joint in New York.
Well, how was Chicago? Was if you could have got was it would it been hard to take the joints into the stadium there, Smiley? I mean, what is cannabis like there?
No, they were no smoking in the stadium at all. We could have got them in though, probably, and had
Uh,
them smoke them. It got dark, but
When I was growing up and the Yankees in the 60s and 70s, smoking was real open in those days. And at Yankee Stadium, everybody be smoking. There'd be like a smoking section where people would know they wouldn't be bothered, you know. New York, but it's funny. New York has always had a reputation of being uh, uh, the top a smoking capital of the world. You would think that Chicago would be the same way.
in New York, you can smoke weed anywhere, the cannabis anywhere. You
Yeah.
can smoke cigarettes.
They were growing a weed on the tops of buildings. You could go by, and I was driving by, and I hadn't been to New York in 50 years. And I was driving by, and there was somebody growing plants at the top of his building, this 30, 40 foot, big building. You could see the plant. You can see what a marijuana plant looks like. There it was right there growing on the roof in New York City, man. That's wild. That's wild shit.
did
I
you
had some friend of mine had a Chicago's now legal now. You have what, legal medical?
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like in between, I think, because there was a dispensary. We seen one when we were driving around, but
No.
I'm not fully up on all the laws, so that's why I wasn't all too geeked about trying to get around smoking too, because
And I was in Connecticut recently, and they have a medical scene like we used to have in Oregon, where they had like a farmer's market. And then if you have a license and the dealer has a license, you can buy from him. You're a grower
yeah,
openly. They had cops as guards there, security. You know what I mean? I mean, it really shocked the shit out of me, man. That it was so wide open in Connecticut. I mean, wild. I mean, just like that was the most money I've ever made on the legal market when I had a booth. I get a booth at Cannabis. You pay like $150 a day for the booth, and you sell as much as you can out of there legally to other people with licenses.
yeah.
And it's just like,
Did you see and did you do any sightseeing while he was there? I know why is it like when I was younger and I traveled, I gave like no shits about like the history, right? You know what I mean? You just go there, do the partying, go back home. Nowadays I'm like, man, should have stopped and checked out the town, or you know what I mean, seen something along the way. Did you stop and check something out while you was in Chicago?
No, we didn't really. We just kind of got there, went walked to the concert, hung out around the Wrigley Field or whatever. But yeah, just seen some shit on the way in.
Was that your first trip to Chicago?
No,
Uh,
first time to Wrigley Field.
Could you sense the history in it? Sometimes, like shit like that, buildings like that, you can just feel the whole.
so I didn't catch your name. What's your name?
Smiley.
Smiley?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Good friend, very smart guy when it comes to cannabis, organics, and now putting the breeding niche under his belt as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the breeding has been a problem because you go there, that there's a thing that they bag appeal, which is like these little nugs that, and they're all like tight, and they've been cut down to the where the it's like a nug, and it smells okay. I mean, I'm used to flour. You know what I mean? I
Well,
mean,
like the hairs too. Like I've noticed that, like you're saying, that they all want to be that golf ball, that super frosty, tight nug. But then there's no like hairs or personality. I remember buds with big red hairs and shit on them. You know, they almost look orange when you look at them and shit because they're covered with these red hairs. You know, it's like that's the bag appeal, right? Like
yeah, it's very rare to find really good bud, real flowers. But they are people that are. I went to New York and somebody was growing my weed. They were calling it the Piff, which is a popular brand, but doing big, nice flowers in big gallon jugs. They weren't kept like you look at the weed that these people are growing nowadays and go, God, are you kidding me? It's just not. I have a calendar of in the '70s they had a calendar, and every year the top weed they would sell a calendar. I have a '72 and a '74, and it shows some of the weed from back in the day. And you look at it, and these people look at it and go, "What is that? That's
right?
fucking real weed, dude." I mean, I was selling 60 Hawaiian weed in the late '70s and '80s for 6,400 a pound in New York, 375 an ounce for all the ounces you wanted. But they never had a lot, but 10, 20 pounds. That's how they were selling. 6,400. I've yet to find anything close to that Hawaiian anywhere. It was vacuum packed, nitrogen sealed, flushed. It had a purple dragon uh, label, and you could keep those pucks in your closet. And a year and a half later, I'd still be pulling them out, open one up, it'd be fresh as the day it was packed. I've yet to see, and then these kids, they're taking, they're listening, they're not, you know, they're using all this fresh frozen, all this tens and $20 and $100,000 worth of freezing equipment and all. That's a scam. What we used to do is we used to vacuum pack it and nitrogen flush it in Thailand. Sometimes it took 9 months to get over. Well, we got it over. It was fresh as the day it was fucking sealed. The same as that Hawaiian. And why would you want to spend? Why do you need $100,000 refrigerated anything? You fucking kidding me?
I believe in some aspects you're right. Now, I'm not agreeing for the same reasons. I'm agreeing for the reasons that it is somewhat of a scam in the fact that now that legal cannabis is coming on, they're preaching, color of of the hash is a big selling point, and I think it's all myself, the fresh froze, all that. It's just a way to cut corners in the long run. They ain't gotta pay
Yeah,
trimmers. They ain't gonna fucking have a dry room. They ain't gotta have, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And they can just throw it in the freezer and make hash out of it early
yeah.
as possible because now we're talking color, so now they can.
And when they do that, it changes the molecular product. You know what I mean? It doesn't. It's not the same.
Oh no, it's fucking heady. It's a way different high.
It
Yeah.
changes the molecular structure. That's what it does.
It's way heady. Well, it's I'm seeing it in like the flower samples, or at least the test results I'm seeing around from some of these dispos and whatnot. It's a way higher THC level or THCA levels versus actual THC levels, which tells me that they're actually harvesting way early. Is that for for longer shelf time, or is that because they're trying to make that harvest all purpose? They were trying to make that a all purpose hash. This is your medicine, this is your fucking recreational. They're trying to find one harvest time that works for everything they want to do with cannabis, and I don't think that necessarily works.
It's basically the Dutch, the auto flowering stuff that really gets me. Why anybody would want to grow an auto flowering plant? I just, just. I guess if you live I just, even the people that are growing my weed in North and Antarctica have grow rooms. The grow room scam that what Rosenthal and all those people taught, has made billionaires. Like that guy Ben Dronkers, a billionaire. Just for being able to control the information and writing the grow books. And the grow books, they would say, forget about the little trichomes. Just catch the big heads. Just catch the big heads. Well, there's your flavor, taste, aroma, and pungency is in the bucket. They've been teaching everybody wrong. It's really, it's how it is.
Well, nowadays, luckily we have the internet and freedom, to spread some information around. So the being expressed is over. It's time to get that word out, teach some people how to do that shit right.
Oh
right?
yeah, when what people get wrong is lighting. They're using way too much light. The cannabis grows in the dark, dude. And during the light period, it's there like a fucking solar dish collecting fucking energy. So you got to know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? So in daytime, it depends on where you're growing indicas. They're giving them way too much light. And the funny thing is that then when they do get a light schedule that makes more sense, they see their buds getting fatter. As soon as they see that, they'll never do the 12 and 12 ever again. But yeah, I've been smoking a lot of hash. I've got two kinds. I've got one that's more granular, that was regular super sin with electrostatic sieving in the end. Takes that the little bit that's left of the and that's grainier. This stuff is just like butter.
How do we go backwards? A lot of what you're saying, again, I'm finding some truth in different reasons, but still some of the same truths. A lot of the flower that I'm seeing, the structure is all the same. Super tight, no fucking pizzazz to it. All the flavors are kind of, blending out together. So, what's your advice for the people that do want to do some breeding and try to fucking get back to the fire stuff? I've preached myself, we need to get back to a proprietary. Don't let them know the ingredients. You know what I mean? So that's not a selling point in the package. The flower itself's got to
Well, I've got a whole agreement now with this company, and we're going to be doing proprietary stuff because these kids that out of nowhere will take one of my strains and develop a reputation behind that strain, and it's sort of it's gone it's okay. I mean, in one respect, it's flattering, but they never share the credit of where the fuck did it come from. You know what I mean? They want to take the credit for everything. It's happened to me a half a dozen times. With So I just I just let a lot of that shit go. But I'm going to be putting out some really pure genetics on a. I have this company and and growers as a group as the team, and I'll be reproducing a lot of my own strains and then producing a lot of strains that I've had, but I haven't been able to do because I'm just one person. Now I have a whole team. So I expect to be the leader of the field here real soon. As far as I have the team now and the space and legal to do it, and now I can do it, and my hands aren't tied.
And that's gonna be.
And I finally got my stash out of fucking Pakistan and Afghanistan, but it just mainly Pakistan. I just really, happy about that. It's a real wide leaf. What people consider indica is really not indica. Is an indica sativa, because the indicas they're harder to grow, and they want, and so you go back, you'll see these really tall Christmas tree type plants. As far as Afghani, that's not what I look for. So I look for something completely different. So it's
What do you look for, Joe?
I look for more of a squat plant. I'm looking for more like I'm looking for right now. Hold on, let me see what this called. What is it? So I'm going to Kazakhstan. I'm looking for a type of indica that they used to grow for knockout drops. That before opium was introduced in Asia, right? They had really strong indica that knocked people out, and they did operations. So I like to find that indica, and I know that it's out there. There's a place in Kazakhstan that has like an area the size of Rhode Island where weed grows wild. It's just been growing there for thousands of years. And it just says, I don't know how many people have on this team and go, well, you know how much this is worth, but still, it's there. That's the place. It's very, I'm planning a trip with my buddy from Pakistan. I'm going to go up there with part of my team there, and go check it out. See, I'm able to do a lot more things now than.
So what is it you're hoping to find out of those? Like what?
I'm just looking for indicas, but I'm looking for this one type of indica that's really like knockout drops. It's like a strong.
Potency is
Potency is very strong.
So what are some of the things you're looking for in that indica, though? I mean, what are some of the traits?
I'm looking for squat plants, but I'm looking for something. I'm looking for peculiar. But I'm going to put my vibe out and see if I can't get that strain with my Pakistani friend that I'm going to bring up there with me, Hamad, and then we're going to be just checking it out. I've got some political connections in Pakistan. They work for the Pakistani government, so and I'm going to have some credentials when I get there. So I'm hoping to be able to get some samples. But I'll be other countries where I can go. I can just get some samples. There's no problem. In Russia, they have one of the largest hemp museums in the world.
Where's that at?
In Russia.
Russia?
Yeah, there's a one in Kazakhstan too. They used to grow a lot of hemp in Kazakhstan.
Isn't Russia like super anti-cannabis?
It's anti-cannabis now, but you got to remember, 150 years ago, cannabis, hemp was like a large commodity. When we still had sailing ships and tents and clothing and all this other kind of stuff was made back then, that's not used today. So like in Chile, in Chile, they when the Spanish went around the Horn, they used to go around like some people who migrated to the West, like San Francisco. They sailed from Boston. They went around the Horn and then up to San Francisco. That was a way of getting it, not having to go through the Wild West, and it was more sophisticated. You could drink wine all the way. So the one of the off points was Chile once they got around the Horn, because they had to get new sails, new ropes, whatever they had Chile was like the main hemp growing district area of the world. They would grow. It used to be from Antofagasta to past Santiago was all hemp at one time. When I was in South America in the '60s, it was all hemp. So there was a whole other trade, and there are still places in the world where they grow legal hemp, and they make ropes and canvas. So it's a trade that'll never be I guess, I mean, I don't know. They're using little of it as much less than what they use, but they still use it. The skunk man, talking about cannabis, hemp. They used to use hemp as ballast on these big sailing ships and steamships. They would use it as ballast. So at the museum in Massachusetts, they had some 1879 ship ballast. Sure enough, a big bale of cannabis from 1879, and they analyzed it, the DNA sequenced it, and fuck, they had skunk in it. I told Nishan at Phylos Bioscience, I told him, I said, man, how could you have gotten involved with that skunk thing, man? That guy's a cop, right? And he didn't invent the skunk. That's an old Afghan strain, man. That's an old Asian strain. That's a land race, right? And I was right. All these fucking top scientists can talk their shit, but they haven't been in the field. You know what I mean? And sure enough, the ballast came up with skunk 1879. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's just, it's like the theater of the absurd. But every now and then I like to, that was a big win for me. Phylos Bioscience, they took their fucking gallery off. That was really informative. So I could really research and see where my shit was coming from. You can't do that anymore.
Thank you for wearing that shirt, Jack. By the way, that made an amazing smile for me, and I'm never gonna change my fucking opinion. I'm never gonna fucking I stand by it now, and I stand by it.
What is your opinion?
Jack looks amazingly like the Zigzag Man. The shirt he's wearing. He could fill the spot of that man any day. Cheers. Jack. How you doing?
Good. The people at Zigzag seem to agree. They gave me the shirt for free when I met up with them at Hall of Flowers event here in Santa Rosa.
I've got one of these mosquito things. Do you think it works? I mean, I think it works. I see mosquitoes getting zapped. I don't have any mosquito problem. I'm out here on my deck. I guess it works.
Yeah. Sungrown 707 recommends the Dyna trap for people that have like caterpillar, butterfly, and moth problems. It's similar, kind of a UV trap that has like a little thing that kind of sucks them in. Yeah. Decent chunk of area. I had a question for you.
Okay.
With the 12-in-1, what kind is that for greenhouse growing, or is that indoor as well?
It's for indoor and outdoor. I'll tell you a story. They were in Oregon. They had people who had greenhouses, and they were following George Cervantes, and they were doing 18.6 in the greenhouses and standing out like a Statue of Liberty for law enforcement, even though people had licenses in Colorado. But I taught everybody 12-1, and all they needed was a light bulb on in the middle of the night for an hour. And that was enough to keep the phytochrome level down. They were so angry that at Cervantes that because when you do 18.6, if you try to replicate it outdoors, you'd need two suns. So yeah, in the let's say you're doing light dep, yeah. That I wanted it to be called photoperiodic control, but Reinhardt, who created the name light dep, thought that the light dep was something that would be more catchy.
But for indoor, you're saying you can do indoor as well for 12-1?
Yeah, I do 12-1 indoors. I just put it on for 12 hours, 5.5 off, 1 hour on, 5.5 off, and that's it.
And what kind of light?
Same thing. Like, let's say if you have you're outdoors and you're in a greenhouse and you can shut the lights off, right? Then you could run it at 12-1, 12-1, or let's say you're outdoors in the greenhouse and it's the winter time. You can do 12-1 outside.
I understand. I've heard it before called the gas lantern routine. And
well, that's not the gas. It's not the gas lantern routine. Yeah, people say it's the gas lantern routine.
How's it different?
Because it's
you're turning off a light. You're turning on a light in the middle of the dark period to interrupt the photo period to prevent them from going into flower. Right. For an hour in the middle of the night.
That's not gas lantern. That's not gas lantern. That's photo period.
That's exactly what the gas lantern routine is.
No. The gas lantern routine was in the 19th century. Farmers, people who grew in glass houses in Europe, realized that if they left a lantern on at night and it heated it up the room because they wanted to heat the room up and keep their vegetables growing or their flowers growing, that if they put the heater on, the plant stayed in veg. What in 1920, two Americans, I forget their names, I'll think of it in a second, discovered photoperiodism, that some plants are short day, long night. Some plants are long day, short night. Like your springtime flowers are long day, short night. Opium grows in the spring. But in everything else, like there's some plants that are day neutral. They flower whenever the fuck they want. But there are plants like rice and staple crops, cannabis, and they flower when the night is longer than the day. So when they discovered that in 1920, then they could grow in a greenhouse year round. Until they didn't realize that, they didn't discover that. Could they grow year round? That enabled people to be able to grow year round as long as they control the lights, the heat, and the darkness. So as long as they do that, they didn't know about the photoperiodism until 1920. Okay, so that's a fact. People who say gas lantern routine is like, oh, it's the gas lantern routine. It's not the gas lantern routine.
Well, I don't know. There's tulip growers.
It's photoperiodic control, and it's been taught since 1920. It's taught in greenhouse operation and management. That's what's been left out of the grow books has been photoperiodic control, photoperiodism.
I live here in San Diego. I mean, they do that with poinsettias. They're doing that with cannabis. It's not like
they've been doing
unknown.
That's how they grow chrysanthemums. Year round.
Lots of flowers
year round. All I had people up in Canada whose parents grew chrysanthemums for a living and did 12-1, and he was doing 18.6. I mean, it's because he read it in a grow book. So and there's no such thing as cannabis botany. It's just botany. These fucking kids came out with not the kids, as the narcs came out with a book, Cannabis Botany.
So for indoor specifically, we were talking a lot about greenhouse, but you were talking about 1,000-watt lights and people going from 12 and 12 to the 12 and 1 or 18.6 to 12 and 1. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, what kind of yields are you expecting from 1,000 watt light or whatever your equivalent light is? Because you were saying that
I don't use 1,000 watts. I haven't used thousand HPSs in a long time. I for a while there I was using what is it, CHSs or CMH.
CMH, yeah, ceramic metal highlighter.
Yeah, and so I had a friend of mine's company in Colorado, and I got some from him, and they were nice. They I got nice. But you know what? I just started using LEDs in Oklahoma. I've never even used LEDs before because I've always worked with the sun. I always grew enough in the year and I always had enough in the fall to last me until I get the next year. You know, when I was in Colorado, and I basically I grew to make cash and to take care of my patients and to take care of myself. And so I basically, and it paid for itself. So it was all right. I wasn't a profit motivated thing since I've had a license in 2000 and 2002. I think I have my first license. I've had a license down there over 20 years, 23 years, 21 years. I've had a license. So
In
yeah,
any of that time, have you been able to do like a side-by-side study? Like Canada now, there's lots of universities. It's legal in lots of countries. So you can do a study like 12 and 1 versus 18 and 6 versus 12 and 12 and see what yields the best, gets the most terpenes, most cannabinoids, and things like that.
it's I've done it 1,000 times. I've done a 12 and 1 doing half hour on, half hour off, half hour on, half hour off over 12 hours, 5.5 off, 1 hour on, 5.5 off. Plants stayed in veg, and the plants loved it. They were lush. I said, well, how far could I go with this? I said, okay, let's see 15 on. So I did 15 minutes on, 45 off, 15 minutes on, 45 off, 15 minutes on, 45 off, 15 minutes, 45 off. Plants
How
stayed
much did that
veg.
increase the
Well, let me
yield?
finish. Plants were in veg. I did. I said, well, how far can I take it? I put a strobe light on, 15 watt, and I put it on for 24 hours, and it worked. The plant stayed in veg. I mean, you have to learn how to do that when you're working underground. So you know, you gotta learn how to play when you work underground. It's you know, it's something that you learn how to do. But I just copied what it said in the book, what it says in the horticulture book, and you know, in greenhouse and manage. You know, I put an hour in the book. It has one lipo. See, Reinhardt, he had an automatic system that you could set with timers that people could put on their decks in Europe and grow a little bit back then, you know. And so then he started out with a solar powered grow bot, which was like I don't know, it wasn't anything that you could really grow a lot of, but it, you know, it was solar powered and it was nice. But it wasn't worth a fuck because it wasn't really built the kind of equipment that you need to be able to do what he wanted to do. So he was trying to produce a product, a thing that he could sell commercially. Well, basically, they have it in the flower industry. They have hermetically sealed greenhouses. Are you kidding? I mean, I gave a talk in Vegas, and I had 3 PhD people who grew chrysanthemums, and they said, Joe, everything you're saying is true, but why are you even teaching this? We're taking this industry over. So, I mean, there's millions of square foot of climate controlled greenhouses just waiting to be opened if they're opened. But what's going to happen is when when they open it up fully, is that they're going to control the amount of THC and CBD, and it's just going to, when you're going to open the door for more regulation, and they're dying to regulate.
So have you noticed like the different spike in different cannabinoids, CBG and stuff like that? With we're
Well,
getting
I told you I worked for 7 years now growing I'm thinking of a new name for it, but it's been a gula line, which is a THCV line. And for the last time I was in Africa, I collected some really nice CBD plants, and I have some THCV plants. And so just been breeding my. I have a two-way African cross. I got a three-way African cross. I got a four-way African cross, and a lot of it has THC8, THC9, THCV. It has CBDA, CBDG, CBC. It has all these other combinations. It has 25 terpenes.
is that the indica you're looking for that has all the
No,
above?
the indica I'm looking for is something else. I have material now that I can really. I have a lot of two-way Africans I want to hit with indica, with real indica, not cockamamie, kiddie pool indica. So I have a certain attitude when it comes to breeding, that I don't listen to anybody but myself or people that I know very, very well, or I'm in the field. Otherwise, I just people just got cockamamie ways of doing things, and hopefully when they get with me, they get learned a little bit. Yeah, this THCV line is super pungent, super flavorful. The THC is never more than 12 or 14%, but it has 25 terpenes, and it has a THCV, and it has CBDA. It has a different combination of CBDA structure in there. So when you look at it, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. When you look at it, when you look at the paper, I happen to have some lab reports, somewhere. Where's my? I can't see if I can think. I put the light. But yeah, the let me see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting too old, man. This is a young man's game to do what I was doing, and you know what I mean. Tell you, I'm so happy to have these guys working for me, man. I think they're kids, but they're like in their 30s and 40s. I mean, they're not 40, but they're late 30s and shit. But they got the energy, man. You know what I mean? I don't have the energy anymore. Not to do all the shit that I was doing. Now I have time to be able to go and oh, it's Instagram. I don't want Instagram anymore.
Speaking of energy, man, I'm gonna bop out. Eagle, man. It's good to hang out, Jack. And, Joe, nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, man. Nice to meet you. I don't know. I don't know how anybody can.
Glad you had a good weekend, Smiley.
Catch up Thursday too.
Are you a musician? Is that what he is? Is he a musician?
No, he went and his fiance took his fiance to Chicago to see her favorite artist, Pink, this weekend.
Oh my God. I had a strain of pink marijuana, and
What were the origins of it?
I don't remember nowadays. I see, that's the thing with this with
I had ran
No, I think it had something to do with my my African flavor. I think that my Angola Red, I have an Angola Red OG and stuff. I think that I have this one strain that's really, really colorful that's Angola and Congolese that I want to fuck with now. I get to do so much more now that I have people helping me, man. Fuck it. But it was, okay, here you go. What is this? THC. So,
How was your weekend, Jack?
It's been good, man. Can't complain. Good weather out here, and been having a good time.
the total THC on this one is like 9.7%, and CBD 0.5. Altogether, it has 12%. Cannabinoid profile, cannabinoids, but then it has like 25 terpenes. You know what I mean? So it's like so sweet, so flavorful, happy weed. It's not. You know what I mean? It's like you could party. It's for partying. You can party, have a party, everybody be smoking and loving it. Tastes beautiful, smells beautiful. It's like a beautiful orchid kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
that
uh,
makes me think of one. I think that you said you're the originator of, and maybe you could clarify the story a little bit. Is Sour Diesel is one I like. It's
well,
a good party uplifter. And you've told a story about Hayes, Kansas, and you worked with a group there. Could you just
no,
give us a quick overview?
the guy that was my partner at the time, he ran my warehouse with Golden, on the road back from the back road, like 93 into Boulder, that went by the Rocky Flats. When I was Rocky Flats was open in those days, it had protesters there every day. But yeah, so we had a lot of seed. We used to give it to friends of ours or friends of Arnie's to basically grow them amongst the corn. And so he always had the best seed. I mean, we had Jamaican, really good Colombian, Thai weed, all kinds of seed he got. And so from there, we got the seedy weed. And the seedy weed had smelled like turpentine, gaseous. Some smelled like kerosene. Some smelled like gasoline, like it had been in a gasoline tank, but it hadn't been in a tank. It was just out of the smell of the weed. And some smell like cat piss, all kinds of weird odors. Same like in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, you have some real weird odors there too. But we got this 22 pounds, I think, 28 pounds of seedy weed, the first run that we did there. And so when we got our share of what we got from for supplying the seeds, it was seeded and nobody could sell it. I couldn't sell it. So I took it to California, and I ended up getting $2,200 a pound from people that I know from the hog farm and the Grateful Dead people, Wavy Gravy and them. So I was in India. I was in Nepal when they were in Nepal, the hog farm, way back when. And so I knew all of those people from then. It's funny thing is I used to get backseat tickets from those people from the dead. And so through Wavy Gravy, actually. And so he was a security. So he used to be, and when they went to New York and played at Madison Square Garden, they'd stay at the International Hotel. And I went there, and me and my friends went there, and we got on an elevator, and we pressed the same button that some hippies had press a button to. And they looked at me, and they looked at my friend, and we were just really like, clean. I mean, like we weren't dressed like hippies. We were just like, a clean cut for sure. But to them, we were the police. So then we got off there, and then we went to the same room that they were going. They were really paranoid by that point, And then actually we were there. Yeah, I brought those seeds there a long time ago. That was like in late 70s, early 80s. More like the 78, 79, those periods, 78, you know what I mean? That's most basically the time. Yeah, up until about 83, 84, I was getting where a lot of our seed was going that way to Kansas. Eventually, the people who were growing it, started to make it seedless. They started separating the males from the females, and you'd get some the back in those days, the kids would call it kind bud, and they were trying to break a market that was basically controlled by really top of the line Mexican, Jamaican, Colombian, Thai, Hawaiian. There was so much shit. There was so much trash from all over the world. I mean, it's hard to break into a market when it was controlled by those imports. And so, but they eventually got through they got into the market, and they called it kind bud, and they would sell it when the Grateful Dead kids used to go around follow the dead from city to city. They had a caravan. And that in that caravan, that's how that a lot of that weed and a lot of weed was introduced. People were introduced to weed because of the Grateful Dead and the caravans. In Colorado, they used to they camp out at Chief Hosa, off of the Chief Hosa exit at the Chief Hosa campground, and I lived at the end of Chief Hosa at the time. I came in one day, the Grateful Dead, the Deadheads had taken over Chief Hosa. I mean, it was a nice time in those days. But yeah, from those days, that seed came out, and I was at a show, and somebody who called himself Chem Dog, and I'm giving Chem seeds away, and he got all perturbed, and he came up, but he couldn't say anything. The only thing that he could say was that he got it from bag seeds from Crested Butte, Colorado, and that's where he got his Chem Dog from. Well, that seed came from Joe Pietri's fucking trip that he had going on in Kansas City, in Hayes, Kansas, and the operation I had going in Denver at the time. But and there's nothing he could even say boo to me about. I mean, give me a fucking break. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that
Dude,
So that's with
maybe
here,
it's
Dingus.
Joe.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But most of the strains that we brought from the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, they're not credited enough, because they brought seeds from all over Asia. They brought David Ortiz when he brought Colombian Gold, and to Maui, and they had Jimi Hendrix there and shit. I mean, and
They get respect here in Southern California. I'll say that.
What?
The guy who taught me they get respect here in Southern California. The guy who taught me how to grow was closely linked with them, and that's where he got a lot of his seed early on.
oh yeah,
So
yeah. There was one guy.
they put a lot of people on.
Oh, they turned a lot of people on. But the thing about this is they were the ones where that blueberry came from Santa Cruz. I know the grower who did that. He was Brotherhood. The Brotherhood helped a lot of people. They had communes all over, and people had to, how are we going to make any money and survive on the commune? The first thing they went to was growing weed. They just had to find the market. It's hard to find the market when you have great shit. There was so much better cannabis around back in those days. Not only was it organic and natural, but it was from source countries. So you got the taste and the flavors and the aromas from Mother Nature. So what I'm trying to do is replicate Mother Nature. I'm trying to put it all back in. I'm trying to put it all back in. So I have this line that I've created, and it basically is a combination of all that stuff, like 4-way African crosses, and now I've got these great indicas that I'm using. So who knows what I'm going to come up with? But I have a lot of stuff that's not finished. Now these kids are, now these people can fucking finish it for me, man. I'm in a really good position. I'm really happy about what's happening, because I just, and then I was doing shows. Since I've been legal, I've seen, or in Oregon, I've seen the business change 7 different times. Now it's a corporate level. They don't even get high.
Are you from Oregon?
Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah. I used to live in Oregon. Yeah.
The
I live
corporate
there
cannabis,
now.
cocaine and alcohol parties.
Yeah. I lived in Tillamook, Cloverdale.
Oh yeah, that's on the coast. I live in Hillsborough. It's west of PDX.
Yeah, they have a banana belt in Oregon.
The Willamette Valley.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's the Willamette Valley. I think it's in Southern Oregon. But yeah, they had a really nice scene going on in Oregon for a while. But then then it went illegal. And when it went, I didn't vote for legalization. I never vote for legalization. Fuck them. It's legal for me anyway. But I've always had medical licenses. I liked it in Oregon because I could have like 8 to 12 patients max, and I could grow my 2 greenhouses and stuff. The only problem that I had in Oregon is I got political. I don't get it political anymore. I beat the state police in a case in front of Senator Morset, and when they try to make extraction illegal and pass a bill. And I showed them what the industry was prior to 1940, what it was 100 years ago. And when they saw the kind of money that was being made then.
Now, one question that Jack asked that I didn't get an answer from you, Joe, is with the light depth, which yields more, your method or the 18.6?
12 and 1.
Yields more.
Yeah, because you change. You're sort of cheating. You're giving the plant 2 nights rest. The 1
What
hour.
about the photosynthesis loss? Because photosynthesis is when
Right.
the light is shining, the plant is producing. So, what is the difference in yield? I should just be more clear with that between 12 and 1 versus traditional.
Okay. It's a horticultural trick. You trick the plant into having 2 nights rest, so the plant grows bigger and faster. And instead of growing to the light, it grows outward, so you have more buds and more bud sites.
Well, if I remember correctly, one of the points being in the 12 and 1 was being it only needed so much light, and then thereafter you were stressing the plant.
Doesn't that depend on the density though? The PPFD or photosynthetic flux density? If you have the light right on top of the plant, it's going to get tired quicker than if you have the light all the way at the top of the room. So it can't just always be the same across the board. If there's different lights, like 1,000-watt HPS is different than 100-watt LED.
Right. I don't use HPSs anymore. I'm using all LEDs because I'm only growing intense right now for seed. In fact, I'm going to be growing outdoors. I have 1 plant outdoors. I'm going to be growing outdoors next year here for myself.
How many grams per watt do you get?
I have
Good to see you, Joe.
I have my seeds being produced by a super team, so I'm going to go with that. But yeah, 12 and 1, you fade the plant into having 2 nights rest. It's a simple horticultural trick that they use every day where they grow chrysanthemums.
What's the yield in like grams
Why
per
does your
watt
plant?
or
Why does your plant
pounds?
stretch to the light? So it stretches to the light because you created a light junkie on 18.6, which makes no common sense. And when
I know, yeah, a lot of
when you put it on 12 and 12, then it stretches to a light 6. Look, with the main thing that I try to get through to people, you've been lied to. They left photoperiodic control out of the grow books. You're having to learn something as if it's new, but it's not new.
with your light, Joe, what kind of yield do you get with 12 and 1?
Horticulture. They've been doing this thing since 1920. I've been growing in my greenhouses. That's what I grew in my greenhouses. Now I grew in a tent for seed, and now I'm going to be growing outdoors. So I just can tell you from people from experience and people who grow indoors using my techniques, you get 30 to 40% more because you're growing bigger plants faster. And then one of the things that people immediately, they well, I didn't get as much as I did the last time. I said, well, you didn't get as much as the last time. Figure out how much less you use on electricity, how much less you use on fucking watering your plants and think how much is less, and now you have think how much time you've saved on your plant growing this, where you used to have
But what if I just want the
I
most
four
out of my
grows here.
space?
What?
What if I just want the most out of my space? I have a very small space. So even though
Then
I could spend less, I'm willing to invest
if I
more
was gonna grow in a
and
grow,
get more.
I've grown in a room that was 2.5 feet by 10, and I had a light that was going up and down the room, and I was getting huge production there, and a little teeny weeny
What kind of
fucking
weight?
closet.
What kind of weight?
Getting a couple of pounds. I was getting a half a pound of plant. I only had 4 plants.
What's the total on the 2x10? 4
It
plants?
was a 2x10. It was a closet that I had fixed up.
I'm a home grower, so I'm also in a closet. That's why I'm asking it just out of curiosity, because like a
I'm,
lot of
I'm
growers
using,
these
I'm
days
using,
measure their
I'm, u- I'm
harvest and then
using,
they
I'm
can say,
using, I'm using tents now. What I flower them, but I put them in a tent. I let them get about this big, and then I hit them into flower. They don't get. I don't really like it with these Africans. You got to hit them fast, because otherwise, if you let them get too big, they'll outgrow you. So you got to hit them fast. You know.
do you measure
I've
your
got. I
yields
have stuff.
each
I have.
crop?
I have stuff. I have stuff that I'm creating now with the new indica strains that I have. Really old, pure indica strains that are going to blow people's minds. I'm going to make F1. I only like F1. I don't like it. I don't like mixture shit. Yeah, Girl Scout cookies and vanilla Girl Scout cookies and chocolate and what. I'm not into any of that shit. I'm into I'm into pure dope strain. So anyway,
Just F1 though, right?
F1. I try to do F1. I want that. I want that vigor. I want that. The hybrid vigor. You only get at F1. I had one kid say to me, "Oh, I bred my monkey to my whatever to the other one, and now I have F1." I said, "No, you don't. You have a fucking poly hybrid." See, I want to get before it gets to poly hybrid.
I actually agree with you there, Joe. So many people are breeding with mutts to a mutt. A mutt to a
Yeah.
mutt does not create a purebred. A purebred is
I
created by breeding
want a
a line
purebred.
down.
I want a purebred F1. I'm not in the kiddie pool. I'm in my own gene pool. And
There's people that take F8s and then breed them to other F8s, kind of like how they do in corn
the
to get
only
that
time
true
I go
hybrid vigor.
F8 is when I'm trying to say something. And then I'll go to some kind of extremes. But even the only time like I had a San Fernando Valley female, and it was a clone only. See, the Dutch have only taught you guys what makes them money. So for a while, the only thing they taught you are clones. They never taught you seeds, and it's like all this other kind of shit. But you had all this shit in the States. It was only clone only, and the only way you couldn't get a seed of it, the only way you could do is to get a clone and then breed it to something. And I did that once or twice. I bred one to a San Fernando Valley to a Lemon Joy, and I bred it 8 times back to the original. And there I finally got it. But yeah, I don't go that far. I just want F1. That's all I want. F1. I want to see the F1 vigor. I want
That's what people dig into and race.
I want to get the Frankenstein plan.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Now, there's just no reason. And then and when you take it in a pure indica and a pure sativa, I have some of my blue dragons that I've bred to pure indicas, and they come out just unbelievable. Like, where are you? Are you off?
No, he's there. He's
Oh
there.
yeah. Yeah, they come out unbelievable. F1, when you create an F1, then you'll once you create an F1, then you'll never go back. That's all you'll want, because you get a vigor and a lushness and a kind of plant you only get, when you do it yourself. You know, that's why I do F1. That's why people like it, like my stuff, because it's going to be. I had one guy. He took my plant, my Durban OG, and called it thin mints, and now half the industry is mints, all bred to the original cut from my original mints. my Durban OG. How many things that you see out there you see as mints now?
A lot of mints.
Yeah. So I mean, I try to stay away from that. It's better to be a purist, I think, when it comes to cannabis. But I only know what I know, and everybody else knows what they know, and that's how it is. But yeah, I'm excited about being retired. What?
I don't know. Oh shit! I don't understand why for a lot of people it's so hard to understand why the 12 and 6 works or the 12 and 1 works when if we put it down to white papers and we take it to, like Jack was talking, measured ppf, and we're talking daily light integral, now it makes sense to pull back the lights and make shorter days when we put it on paper and to do the math. But when we talk in vague sense, it's all comical and it doesn't work.
The thing about it is that all you got to do is look on the photoperiodic control in the Nelson and greenhouse operation and MAD. They show you right there, black and white.
Greenhouse operation is a little bit different than in-house. Indoor is different than greenhouse, right?
No, indoors was created out of greenhouse.
But you're not getting the supplement from the sun.
Okay, you're missing the point.
Well,
the thing about
I know people that grow in greenhouses without lights.
Let me explain to you.
Yeah.
Photoperiodism, right, is being able to control the night and the day to replicate the kind of because you have a seasonal weather, right? So when you're in a greenhouse and you have it under control, right? It doesn't have to. Mother Nature, the weather has nothing to do with it. You're controlling the environment. So what they did with when they learned how to do the greenhouse technique and how to control the environment, it only made sense when they went indoors, right? That they replicated right out of the greenhouse operation and management, except that they added learning curves like the lighting system. That looks pretty good.
Nice little indica.
Well, I'll show you some sativa. Hold on.
Eagle, good to see you, buddy. I want to say hello to you guys while I can. Appreciate you being live on Monday. I'm going to step out real quick here, but I did want to get that question answered. Thanks for that, Jack. I wanted to see. Still a little fuzzy on that, but I'm always interested in new ways of doing things, especially indoors. So you guys have a great night, all right? You
too. If you want to seriously learn on some of that stuff, Lost Leaf on Instagram.
Lost Leaf?
Yeah.
Got it.
He get some excellent results. A lot of white papers that you'd be interested.
Weed Nerd World, I see you. You guys are awesome out there in the Weed Nerd World. Just letting you know. Take care, guys.
Cheers, Bingus.
Bingus. Much love.
So was that the hottest of the Pacquiao chips there or what, man? Because I ate that whole bag, and though I do feel a slight burning in my gut, I do not feel it in my lips.
What's the flavor?
This was the haunted ghost pepper.
Huh. Isn't the one chip the hot one? The one chip challenge?
Well, it says
the bags I think are a little
freaking.
It looks like it's
See, and it says an insane amount of ghost pepper, but I don't know. This was one chip though, but they were good.
I guess I can show you.
No, show us some bud.
Okay, here, this one here is Red Congo. It's a three-way African cross. Can you see it?
I can see it.
It smells wonderful.
Today's market would scoff at that. That's one thing that they don't. We're talking about like bud structure and everything now.
This is this is my red dragon. This is
Oh,
this is red Congolese, my CBD plant, and then back into Durban poison. This is my red dragon, which is red Congolese, Nigerian hash plant, CBD, Durban poison. This has red Congolese, my CBD OG, my CBD plant from Nigeria, from Malawi, and then it has red Durban poison. This has four-way African. It has red Congolese, Nigerian hash plant, Malawi CBD plant, and Durban poison. This one right here. This is fucking unbelievable. It's red. I don't know if you can see it, but it's red.
you can't see it that well. A little bit. There we go.
It's lightly trimmed. I mean, I pick off the leaf. I don't trim it. I mean, I tell you, when it dries up the little drip leaves, I'll pick them off. But yeah, and then I have this one. Okay, this one is an interesting one. This is I have a plant called sour goo. It's a dynamite plant. And this is about, the mother was 14 and a half pounds. And now this one is sour goo, OG, times my CBD plant times Durban poison. This is real colorful. You really can't see the color unless you're in the light, But yeah, this is what I'm smoking. I don't know what anybody else is smoking. This is what I'm smoking. I'm not trying not to be facetious, but man, some of these kids are smoking stuff that's just unbelievable. It was a pleasant surprise to see people smoking decent weed. That it was
There's a group
something.
called Congo Club here in the California market. It's one of the equity groups, and they grow red Congolese,
Yeah,
and it sells. A lot of the old school stuff is being in high demand now because people are sick of, like Joe's describing, a lot of others have, like cookie to cake to whatever, the
I've
same thing
been the
over and
only
over.
one for years that has stuck to the truth. I'm going to bring back the flower into marijuana for sure. With my new Caesar art, I'm going to blow the roof off of the roof. I'm going to blow the roof off of the buildings with the stuff that I'm going to come up with, And red Congolese is a really nice smoke, I sold some red Congolese to Green Bluff Farms up in Washington, and he sold it to Willie Nelson's Willie's Reserve. And you think that he would pass on my number, right? Because the people from Willie's Reserve said, you didn't breed this. Where did you get this from? You don't have this profile. We never see this cannabinoid profile anywhere. Where did you get this? And and he didn't give my name. He didn't give my number. He didn't pass that information on. That's a bullshit movement.
So Stingman in chat wants to know a little bit about your drying curing process.
I don't do anything any different. I dry it on the stem with the leaves, and then I just pick off the dry leaves, and then after a while I put it on I let it dry. I let it dry. I have these screened off trays. Then I let it hang for a while. Then I put it on the trays for a while. Then I cut it off the buds and put it in. I use paper bags a lot for my curing. I keep because the paper bag sucks the moisture out of the weed. You know, out of the moisture out of the weed. So I use paper bags a lot. But I start off with paper bags, and I go into, hang them, paper bag them, then I jar them. I mean, this stuff has been in the jar for 4 months, 6 months, a year.
I feel like the paper bag is a nice little step in between the hang and the jars. I learned that from my buddy who was close with the.
Yeah. At first I hang them, then I put. First I put them in the bags, in the big garbage bags. Let them soak up the moisture. Then I hang them. I forget how. Yeah, that's how I do it. Hang them and bag them, and then put them in here. But
Do you have any thoughts on daily light integral, or DLI? Have you heard of that, or have any thoughts on that?
yeah, I come to these shows. Well, let me put it to you this way. The Dutch marketing fraud, they have their sales teams come over here. And when you go to a grocery store, they'll only teach you 18 and 6 in their routines to where you'll use more lights and more of everything. They have that whole industry, So a lot of the stuff, DLI, bitty, pop, I'm into Mother Nature. I mean,
I learned that from corn farmers. I'm from Ohio,
Yeah.
Ohio by the 4th of July. That's an old school. Corn has one of the higher DLIs. Ohio during the summertime gets tons and tons of sunshine. So during the middle of the day, though it might get 6 hours of direct light, it's getting a lot more light than a small grow light is putting out. So they measure the light and then they put a number to it throughout the day, from 30, 40, as high as like 50 or 60 in certain places.
You try to replicate the light that you do. What do you use? Are you using it? Are you in a tent?
I use an LED light.
But you're
I go like Hawaiian style. Yeah, I'm in a tent. I go like Hawaii, 11 hours on, 13 hours off, like the islands, like where the best weed in the world's grown. Your favorite strain, the Hawaiian, where it's grown, where there's 11 hours of daylight and there's 12 hours. And I have a fade on. So it starts with a sunset where it's really low light and it's gradually goes up and it has intensity in the middle of the day. And then it fades off and then it has a different colored sunrise at the beginning, sunset at the end.
Why not just get, how much sun does a plant get in Hawaii per day? From sun.
Well, that's what I'm roughly. That's roughly what I'm. That's about what I'm giving it. I mean, I can't obviously replicate the sun in a tent in the closet, but I do my best.
Well, you get
intensity.
You have these people I know. They're making some LEDs out of. They're an Indian company, but they're situated in Boulder, Colorado. They've got a new system. This. I mean, I used HPSs. I've used the other ones. Those ones with the big
CMH.
The CMH, okay, but still they had the what do they call it? The weight thing, the thing that they had. You had to run it through a piece of equipment. I forget
the magnetic or the other type of ballast.
Ballast. What a pain in the ass they were. Jeez.
Oh yeah, I don't miss those. I started on 600 watt HPS with ballast, and we used to do the checkering where we do some HPS and some metal halide to try and get a little bit more mixed spectrum, but we ended up going full HPS.
Now they have a UV lights that they put inside, and that helps control the mold and mildew and bugs too.
And it can increase terpenes and cannabinoids if it's given in the right ratio.
I don't have any bugs. The only time I have bugs is I I'm touchy. I don't let anybody go into my room. I don't let anybody go into my tents. I do everything myself. But I'm so glad I'm never going to look at another tent again. You know.
I
But
like them for a little bit of
I
head
had to
stash,
finish.
but
I had to
there's better
finish.
ways.
I had to finish my African run. So I had to produce some seed from my because I had done the breeding, and now I was, you know, collecting my seed, and you know,
Those are hard to grow in tents, Joe. Those sativas,
this
they
whole
grow right over the
line,
light.
this whole line is above people's heads. They don't understand, but what they do is why I call it happy weed, because it makes you feel good. You know. That's all that I care
Everybody
about.
wants that.
You know, that's all that I care about. But yeah, this red dragon one is. You see the red dragon here, and the red Congolese. They have a lineage. They're completely different, but somewhat the same.
So let me ask you guys this: when you've got a bud that
Look at the color.
velvety, when did you decide to fucking harvest? That necessarily that buds actually each one of those are looking for pollen. You know what I mean? Each one of those hairs. So buds necessarily still growing. Do you wait until them hairs are turning color, or do you wait until they've decided to curl?
I cut them as soon as I've got these mixed up now.
The Mary buds like that. The Mary buds right there are tough judge. Do you let them go? You know what I mean? Are they still growing? Because the hairs will change upon harvest. You know, you can harvest early and they will go orange or red. But you naturally, should you wait? Should you let them go on the plant and let that plant, you know what I mean? Should you let those hairs be a factor of judgment in general?
I think so, but in like it depends on the strain. So I had one, a Platinum Yeti. It was more of like a heavier couch lockier strain, and I didn't want it to just sit my ass on the couch so much, so I harvested it a little bit sooner. So it's going to have a little bit lighter trikes, a little bit lighter hairs. But like you said, throughout the dry and cure, those white or even yellowish hairs
I
turn
only,
orange.
as soon as I see one bit of amber, I'm cutting. I this last run I cut them as soon as they got the milky and stuff. And most of it was milky. Cut. That's what I do.
I think that's a good time.
If I do any amber, I don't even want to see amber. Period. The High Times tells you wait till your pod is 50% of your trichomes are 50% amber. Yeah, it's turned into CBN, and now they're harder. They're easier to collect. You know, the scene is not like it used to be. There was pride. Well, I guess there still is pride, but you know it's almost like if they control everything that you smoke, it has to be a certain look. It has to have a bag appeal. I don't get it.
On that note, boys, I got to run. Good talking with you, Joe. Eagle.
You too.
Great seeing you as always. And hope everybody has a great night. I'll be in the chat for a bit. Peace and love.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, too quick. I'm gonna call it a night too.
Yeah, you guys reading chat. Yeah, I was only gonna run till 11 o'clock tonight anyway, so I guess that works out in perfect time.
Beautiful.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Joe.
Okay, man. I'll be speaking to you soon. I'll let you know what's going on.
Please do.
You have a good one.
You too. For the rest of you guys, thank you for tuning in on this Monday night Weed Nerd World. I greatly appreciate you guys. It's time to hit that gym, man. The days are getting close.
Yeah.
Too close, man. I'm running a race there, Joe, here in the fucking 2 weeks. I'm running a 10-mile race. Yeah. Going to the gym
Good
to
luck.
run. Thanks, brother.
My battery's going down, so I'll speak to you later. Take care.
Right on. For the rest of you guys, then, thank you guys for hanging out, tuning in. Don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. With that being said, we are out of here.